Wow, so that was a pretty intense movie. I'm assuming you've seen the movie, Larry.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your opinion on it?
Well, I think one of the things it misses is the fact that in the title it talks about the race to nowhere. And it is the race to nowhere for most students because they have no idea where they're going. It's the idea of hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. But what are you hurrying for? As a high school student, you have no idea, but everybody's telling you hurry. So one of the things I think that's really important is to lower the stress, is to help you understand what it is you're working towards. And you to recognize you as a high school student have control over your life and where you're going. And that's a big difference because you went from elementary school to middle school to high school. Your parents took care of all that. You had no control. They had all the control. When you left 8th grade, the world changed. For most students, nobody told them that. The parents have no control. The student has 100% of the control. The grades they get, the activities they're involved in, are all up to the student. And they need to understand that they have control. Once they understand they have control, the stress level goes down.
I noticed that too, like in my school system. In middle school, the rules were a lot stricter. We had really strict dress code. You know, people got lunch detentions for little behavioral issues. And then you get to high school, and it's like nobody really cares. Like if you don't want to be in a class, then you're not in the class. And if you don't want to learn, then the teacher's like, fine, don't learn. You know what I mean? So it's kind of people have to take it upon themselves to do well and to study.
Now, standardized testing, do you think that it's hurtful or helpful to the schools, or is it, hurtful to the students?
Well, the thing is, you have to recognize what standardized tests are for. Standardized tests are because there are 60,000 high schools in this country. Mm-hmm. There's 3,700 colleges. Every college can't know about every high school. So they can't know how Sharon High compares to Needham High, compares to Reading High, just in this state, because they're competing against kids in Sausalito, not to mention there's 1 million homeschooled kids in this country, plus all the kids outside this country. So the colleges need some type of standardized test in order to be able to understand where does a student fit. But not every college requires tests.
Right.
700 colleges don't require tests. Providence, Holy Cross, Bates, Bowdoin, Middlebury, WPI, Wake Forest, Lake Forest don't require standardized tests. So a standardized test will not get you into a college. Poor standardized tests may keep you out of a college, but they're not going to be the determining factor. The determining factor is your grades.
So how does your company help that? Or how does...
Well, we don't go ahead and do any standardized testing.
Right.
We don't coach kids on standardized
stress,
testing. What we do is we help students understand where do they fit in that process and how do the tests help. And there's 2 tests. One is the SAT, which most people in New England are familiar with. The other is the ACT, which is a much more popular test in the middle part of the country. All the colleges take both tests. 10 to 30% of the kids do better on one test than another test. The colleges don't care which one you take. So one of the things that adds stress to the students is the fact that they have no idea, well, when am I taking the tests? Why am I taking it?
Yeah.
And if you're not careful, when you're a junior in high school, you could find yourself with 6 weeks of continuous standardized tests because you could be taking the SAT, AP tests, subject tests, and more SATs. So 6 weeks straight of a lot of standardized tests on top of your regular schoolwork, on top of after-school activities, everybody's going to be stressed. But if it just shows up and you don't have any idea it's coming, the stress level goes up.
Yeah. In my opinion, I always think stress is really self-inflicting, and it's how you deal with it that's important. And if you know how to handle your life and balance things and you know what's important, then it's kind of like nothing's really a big deal. If you're prepared for it coming, then there's nothing to be afraid of.
And being prepared is the key thing here, because what most people get overly stressed about is the unknown. So 40% of our clients are siblings of existing clients. They tend to work with us starting in 8th grade, the beginning of 9th grade. And one reason for that is the colleges start looking at you once you leave 8th grade, which means June, after you graduate 8th grade. Mm-hmm. So it's important to start to understand that then it becomes a lot easier process because you're also taking a lot of small bites at this accomplishment. You're not waking up your junior year going, oh my God, nobody told me that freshman year counted. Nobody told me that that summers counted. What's happening? Well, no wonder you're stressed. Just imagine going to a game and finding out the rules 2 minutes before it ends. It'd be pretty upsetting.
Do you think now with colleges have gotten a lot more expensive and with pressure to get scholarships and financial aid, do you think that's put more stress on students?
I think it puts more stress on parents. Parents love their children, and they're willing to do anything for their child, including things that are stupid. So I have seen parents who have very low incomes take on $250,000 worth of debt when they haven't put any money away for their retirement just to take care of their child. So that's part of the stress.
Yeah.
And the parents don't talk to the children about that stress. But yet, as students, you feel that stress. You know when your parents are under stress.
It's contagious.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where, again, starting the process early and starting to look at the various pieces of it and understanding realistically what's possible.
So what can we do to end this pattern of school-related stress issues?
I think starting to understand what the process is earlier, not later, and understanding that there are schools for everybody. 70% of, most colleges are accepting 70% of the kids. It's easy to focus on places like Harvard, Yale, Princeton, and Stanford.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's a lot of other colleges, and it's been proven that if you're smart enough to go to one of those colleges and you don't, you're likely to succeed just as much as anybody who does. So there's no reason to be overly stressed about it. Focus on what you can control, not on what you can't control.
Isn't that the motto for America, that like there's a college for everyone?
There is a college for
opposed to other
everybody.
countries.
You just got to find the right fit.
And what do you say to people that is like really devoted to a college that doesn't get into that college?
I try to put it in perspective, and one advantage of starting early is starting to understand that there are various options. Some people get very fixated about achieving a goal, but sometimes that goal, not achieving the goal, turns out to be better for you. I have a friend who was supposed to be on an airplane flight, and one of his business partners was late for it, so he didn't make the flight. That was 9/11.
Wow. I
All
know.
right?
I think everything happens for a reason, and if you just if you go with the flow, you'll find your path, and it'll all work out in the end.
I think the movie talks a lot about students becoming uninterested in school. How do you keep up, the excitement during the college process so that they can find the college for them?
Great question. I think one of the things is the fact that as a student, you are in high school, you're sort of looking at high school, you've been to other high schools, and it all sort of seems the same. And at one point you start just going through the motions because adults expect you to get good grades and do activities, so you're just doing the next thing that everybody's telling you to do. What's important is you start to see that when you go visit colleges, that they're completely different. So if you go see UMass Amherst, you're going to see a facility that's completely different than Wellesley, for example. And just down the street, if you went to the Franklin W. Olin School of Engineering, you would find it again completely different. So I think it's important that a student start to visualize what their goals are. That will go ahead and help them stay motivated and stay engaged in things that they're interested in. Just like at Young Broadcasters, you start to get engaged in something that interests you. So you carry that on through other activities, and that becomes a big opportunity.
And going back to the Race to Nowhere, do you think it's given a good message to students and parents to see what other students and countries have been like? And right now we have an image of, are these colleges in the U.S.?
Oh, those are where the movies
Oh,
are
that's where the
going.
movies are showing.
Oh, all right.
So it's really been spread across the entire country. So do you
Right.
think it's given a positive impact on schools and communities?
I think what it's done is it's created a good dialogue, and that's a starting point. because then students and parents can start to talk about the issues. In some cases, parents are upset that students aren't given enough homework, and one of the things that comes up in the film is maybe more homework isn't the answer.
Mm-hmm. I know, like, after it showed in my school, I didn't go see it, but the next day we had discussions about it in every class with all my teachers, and they all felt bad about giving us homework and tests and wanted to, like, cancel everything. But I think they were kind of, like, taking it to the extreme, that, like, if you learn how to balance it, maybe it's not like we should take it all away. It's we should teach students how to balance their time and not, like, get fixated on one thing and know, like, if you get a bad grade in school and you, like, if that really upsets you, well, in life in some points, something bad's going to happen. You have to learn how to deal with it, and it kind of parallels the same thing. So.
Well, but what about the kids, though, that they might be working hard, but in reality they get home and they play video games? Because I have friends that, honestly, every day at school the teacher says, bring out your homework, and they don't have it. And I think to myself, because I'll see them in the hallway talking about video games, and I'll think to myself, you know, are you really making the effort? Because then I hear them later, oh, we get too much homework.
Well, they're not making the effort, but they don't see the reason that they ought to be doing the homework. And the thing is, when you get to college, you don't have parents standing over you going, where's your homework?
Right.
You don't have somebody managing your time where you, in high school, you go to class and you have a schedule, and you know, well, I have this class at 7, I have this one at 8, this one at 9, this one, and you're just going class to class to class. In college, you may only have classes Tuesdays and Thursdays. You may only have classes after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. There's always somebody who has a better idea than studying in college. 24/7. Usually they're really cute. So one of the problems when students get to college is they haven't learned the time management skills. They need to learn them in high school. And the way to do that is to start to show them why the grades count. And in some cases, students have learning disabilities, and those aren't diagnosed. And that's one reason why they're more interested in the video games than in doing the homework, because they may have challenges with that work.
So do you think College Solutions has inspired students to do better in college and prepared them better for the change?
I think the high schools do the best job of preparing the students for college.
Mm-hmm.
But we certainly have enough students that come back to me afterwards and talk about how they feel that they've gotten to the right college and gotten the right fit so they can move on to the right job and the right career in the right grad school.
And you help them after, too?
We work with them. We work with students that are in high school to find the right fit, and that means the right fit for the student, the right fit for the family financially. We also have a program called Maximize College, which helps students in college get the most out of college. And then we help 20 and 30-year-olds find their first career, not their first job.
Good, good. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Larry. It's been great talking to you. And actually...
especially, we're all going to be going through this soon.
Yeah,
so
they're in high
good advice
school.
for the future.
I'm getting there.
Well, you start it in June.
Yep.
So good luck.
Thank you
Thanks.
so much.
So we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. And when we come back, we're going to be talking with Charles Dalton.